You'll ever wonder why the right-wing Hindutva manosphere is obsessed with the likes of Godse and Veer Savarkar? To start with, when I say manosphere, we need to keep in mind that in India, nothing is untouched by caste. This includes the manosphere. The Indian digital manosphere isn't simply a monolithic space driven solely by their hatred for women. No, just like any other institute in India, it is deeply intertwined by Brahminical patriarchy, Islamophobia, and your basic right wing populism. So, along with hating women for no longer being financially and otherwise dependent on their male counterparts, getting an education, etc., Indian incense also cannot stand women stepping outside prescribed notions of womanhood. That could mean marrying outside their caste or religion, challenging patriarchal norms, or caste hierarchies. Having said that, let's turn our attention to where the Indian manosphere gets its ideological blueprint from. Alaika Aftab, in her article Mapping Hegemonic Masculinity in Indian Manosphere, talks about how the RSS's model of militant masculinity has launched itself into a broader right-wing cultural project. She says this is a direct response to historical narratives of subjugation at the hands of Mughals, Muslims, or British colonialism. Ashish Nandi, political psychologist and social theorist who has done a ton of work in colonialism, argued that Western ideas of masculinity, including aggression, control, and emotional restraint, were actually used as a weapon of domination against colonized people. Now, as a response to this colonial hypermasculinity, Hindu nationalist movements, especially the RSS, try to align the Hindu idea of masculinity to the British colonial idea of masculinity. They did so by trying to revamp the Hindu male as virile, disciplined, and combative. Think of it like this. In Britain, the feminine parts such as speculation, interaction, and caring are erased from the public sphere and replaced with ideas of achievement, competition, and success. The aggressive masculine power takes over in the public sphere, and femininity is pushed to the margins, only having space in the private sphere. In India, this aggressive masculinity is brought to the surface through the hypermasculinity of Kshatriya in colonial consciousness. In both Anglo superiority and Kshatriya superiority, hypermasculinity is at the center. This reconfiguration of masculinity is exactly what we find in the digital manosphere, where online actors valorize and glorify historical figures associated with conquest and strength, constructing them as embodiments of national pride and ideal manhood. Mind you, this is not in spite of people like Savarkar advocating for using rape as a political tool, but because of it. Because it perfectly fits the ideals of hyper-masculine violence for conquest and to protect national pride. This is also why these people heavily criticize men like Gandhi and Nehru, because they don't fit in this framework of hyper-masculine nationalism. And that's why we have so many Godse Paglus and Savarkar Paglus.